Not so humble opinion. If you are an artist or designer and you're not making your own stickers, your own phone covers, your own journals, your own shirts, if you're an artist and designer and you're not using print on demand to make your own stuff, and I don't even mean make your own stuff to sell, I mean just make your own stuff that you want to wear and use. If you're not doing that, you're failing. That's a bold opinion. Let's go. What's going on, everybody? My name is Dave Conry, and yes, I am full of my bold opinions. My super crazy, it's probably not that crazy. My very singular-minded opinions are very prominent. Okay, so backstory. This last weekend, I went to a friend's 50th birthday party, and it's the first time I'd ever been out with some of my close friends in a really, really long time. And we had a really good time. But there was this incident. Actually, it was kind of an extended incident because it kept happening over and over throughout the evening. We're at this place called the Sagebrush Cantina in Calabasas, California. But we're out there, the outdoor seating area, just having a good time drinking. And I ordered a couple of plates of appetizers. And as the food starts to dissipate, it starts to, like there's less on the plate. The busboys are coming by and they keep asking, like, if they can take the plate. It's like, no, there's still food on the plate. Don't ask to take the plate. This is kind of like busboy 101. But they kept doing it and they kept grabbing for the plate. And one of my friends got really upset and kind of like talked very curtly and loudly to one of them about it. But the whole interaction kind of became a meme for the night and just kind of brought back more laughter. My friend said that would be a totally great name for a punk band called Aggressive Busboys. Ding! Light bulb over my head. Thought to myself, I'm a designer. I know how to make these things. Let's make a punk rock band shirt. Design brief. Here's a little bit of a straight talk for all the designers in the room. If you're a designer and you're making anything, even if it's for yourself, but without any kind of design brief, any kind of information about the project, well, then it's just art. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I do that all the time. I've got an entire poster series dedicated to just, whatever I decide to make at any given time. The only design brief that I have even relating to that poster project is make a poster every day. But if you're going to call yourself a designer and you're making all these projects, you better give yourself a brief. Like this one. Design brief for this project. Single color shirt. It's going to be a one color shirt with a one color ink, and I'm not sure if I'm going to do white ink or black ink at this point, but that's what we're going to do it. I would really prefer to do screen printing, but we're going to be using print on demand anyway. Punk rock style, because Aggressive Busboys definitely sounds like a punk rock band. It's going to be hand lettered, or at least portion of that is going to be hand lettered, very punk rock in its essence. It's going to have some sort of edgy imagery that, will be a little cheeky, have a little kind of inside joke, or maybe not so inside. Oh, and it's also going to have all of the pertinent information from the event. So it'll be based on the night that we were there at the event place that we were there, because that place also has bands, so it makes sense. Now, I'm really only making this for my friends and I. I'm gonna make a couple for me and my two other closest buddies there. I probably will provide it for sale and give a secret link to some people, maybe you guys if you're interested. I'm gonna do that, but I'm also, in a very punk rock style, I'm gonna make that shirt really inexpensive. Now let's kick this off by finding ourselves some imagery. I have already done the homework on this, but I used my handy dandy faithful Crap Hound Big Book of Unhappiness. If you're not familiar with this book, I highly recommend you check it out. There'll be a link in the description. It's basically just chock full of all this old clip art. And what I've actually come to find out about this, and I've had this mistake in the past, is that it's not necessarily all public domain, but there is this aspect of fair use. And if you understand the rules of fair use and copyright infringement, then you understand how it is possible to use some of this stuff. Do your research. I'm not your attorney. So I found a couple images that I want to share with you. Yeah, this is me holding my phone awkwardly over the page, but you get the point. Look at this first image right here. I was originally gonna go with this one here because I thought these guys were kind of funny. It was, this guy throwing a biscuit at this other guy, but they were a little bit like they both look like just guys at a wedding or whatever, or prom or whatever. So it didn't quite fit, but I did see this guy who kind of looks like he could be like a waiter or a maitre d' or something like that at a party. But yeah, so I liked that one. That's my first choice. My next choice was this one right here because I kept thinking to myself, he wanted to steal the food. And I was going to maybe write the word grub or something up here on the package, but I don't know. It's an idea, but it's not the best idea. The final and probably best idea is this one right here. It goes along with this theme that I've been thinking in the back of my head about Keep Your Hands to Yourself tour. It's pretty aggressive. So I was thinking, you know, I could use that, maybe pull the fingers a little bit further apart and then put the lettering in there, like say aggressive busboys like that. The other thing about this is that I'm actually going to be using the phone to take the photo and then importing that into my computer. Now this is the new iPhone. I just picked it up the other day and it takes pretty good pictures, but I'm also shooting on a book page, which isn't going to have the best fidelity, but I'm totally okay with that. Because this is obviously, again, supposed to be a little bit punk rock, and punk rock promotional stuff, whether it was posters or t-shirts or whatever, they were more concerned about getting it out there than making it look perfect. They were the kings and queens of DIY merch, and so that's kind of the aesthetic I'm going for. Not bad, looking pretty good, I think, huh? So I made the unfortunate mistake of trying to update my Affinity photo right before I started to film this. I'll be back in an hour. Got myself some fresh coffee, and now we're back into the screen. So the art's already updated. I went and cleaned it all up, and I formatted it for the right size that Printful prefers for their t-shirts. I've got it at 12 by 16 inches, 300 DPI, and so on and so forth. I'm gonna be using my Huion tablet for this one, so if the mouse moves around a little weird, that's why. As much as I've been using this thing, I'm not a pro yet, so I'm a little awkward. Things first, I grabbed the lasso tool, and I'm just going to kind of come around some of these here, and I probably missed that, so I'll probably have to go back and add to this. Now I'm just going to separate these two pieces of this art. Actually, you know what I'm doing? I'm gonna cut that and copy it back on. That puts it on a new layer, and that way I can move it around flexibly. Flexibly? Is that a word? I can move it around if I want, and that way it gives me an opportunity to, you know, do something with this. I haven't turned this art into line art yet. This is all just black and white. Like, I'll take away this white background. You can see what I'm talking about here. You can see the transparent background. It's all just a mess. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait till I finish the entire design, and then I'm going to turn it into black artwork. Now, it looks a little too clean for me to have these fingers like look like they're all just like going up in a straight momentum direction, because especially because whatever would have chopped it looks like it was pulling the blood this way. So I feel like I need to make some adjustments to these fingers. I think I can also move around some of these blood marks, and I'm thinking I'm probably going to need to move this up even higher. But I'll readjust once I figure out what's going on with the type. So I'm going to type something out, all caps, because it's aggressive. I want this typeface to be a little bit more narrow or condensed, and DIN condensed is by far one of my most favorite. But again, I'm going to be using this, I'm going to be redrawing this, but I'm just using this for placement at the moment. And I like the fact that the words kind of cut through the hand as if the words are the knife. And I have this instinct to want to try some perspective too. I don't know if this is going to work, but it almost gives it even more of a slasher feel, you know? But I want it too crazy. Maybe what I'll do is I'll draw my type, and then I'll do this to it after the fact. So I'm going to leave this as is. I'm going to go ahead and hit apply, but then I'm going to hide that because I don't want to draw this with this kind of perspective. I want to draw it normal and then add the perspective to it. I'll pick a brush, and then I'm going to trace this all, and I'll see you on the other side of that. Okay, so you can see I went ahead and drew out the type. You can see it's pretty rough and cut, and that's the way I wanted it. Moved some stuff around and added some more flicks and flacks of blood or whatever, and I'm not 100% stoked on it yet, but I'm going to go ahead and move on, at least to finish up the rest of the typography. And then once I do that, I'll see how it all flows once it's all together. We're getting a little bit closer. I moved a bunch of stuff around. I'm still probably gonna make some adjustments here, but the only thing I'm unhappy with is the date down here. The date and the cantina thing right there. I'm not totally stoked on that, only because I wanted something that was just hand typed, but it's looking a little too clean, and I'm not quite sure how it's gonna work out. So I'm gonna do an old school tactic where we print something out, and then almost as if we're going to paste it onto the page, I'm going to wrinkle this up, I'm going to cut it apart, and I'm going to re-glue it back together and then shoot a picture of it. So be careful when you open it back up because you don't want to tear it too much. Now this technique works way better on like laser printers. Mine's an inkjet printer, so it's probably not going to get as much, but you will get some texture out of this, and that definitely helps. Just got to find my tape. Tape skizzers. There we go. Looking nice and gritty. Now we gotta take a picture of it. Now we're gonna place that right into our dock. There it is. Put that at the top so I can see it good. And let's clean up anything that I don't need out of this. Need to get rid of the selection and delete that background. And then let's threshold the heck out of this. Well, we're gonna levels it out. What are you not? Why are you not working? Yeah, it looks good. Look at how gritty that is. Now it's in color still. I'm gonna go ahead and merge that down to hue and satch. Merge that down. There we go. Looking pretty good. Looking pretty cool. I don't know if this is gonna work 100%. All right, there we go. Bonus. Okay, I'm just gonna move this type. Where is it? There. I'm gonna move that underneath. I'm actually pretty stoked about this. Just the way it came out. It just kind of follows that line a little bit. Yeah. I'm digging it. 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 So we're close, but we're not quite there. There's one last thing I want to do. It's a little too clean in some spots. I know it sounds weird considering how rough and tumble I've gone with this whole thing, but I think I'm going to drop a texture on top just so I can give it a little bit more of a grit, a little bit, pull some of it away as if it's been worn down a bit. Command-Shift-M or place. Go in here to my digital products, textures, stain textures. Put a levels adjustment on there, and I really want to mostly black. Mostly black. Now this one actually may or may not work. I might have to go a different route. So in fact, I think I am. I'm going to leave that layers adjustment there. I'm going to delete that, and I'm actually going to bring in a texture from someplace else. Just like any designer, I have my own sources. Oh, these are so cool. I haven't seen these in a long time. These might work. Now my levels adjustment might be a little bit aggressive for what I've got going on here, so I'm going to fix it, but we're going to zoom in here real quick and see what we got going on. Yeah, a little too aggressive. All right, so now select sample color, find my white. I'm going to come up a little bit on my tolerance. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fill that with white. So I change my color to white. I'm going to edit and then fill with primary color. A lot of little bits. Not all of them work. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and just paint over some of these or erase some of these. So looking pretty solid, pretty straightforward, very punk rock. Not meant to look professional. It's meant to look like it was made by the band and then put on t-shirts. So then the next step would be to combine all of those layers. So I do that by holding Command Option Shift and then E, and that basically grabs everything. It flattens, puts a flattened image at the very top. I'm going to go ahead and just group everything else just so I don't have it in my way, and that way I can turn that off. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this top layer with everything in there. I'm going to go back to select sample color. I'm going to select my black, and I'm going to take my tolerance up pretty high, maybe something like that. And I'm going to apply, and then I'm going to do a Command C and a Command V. Deselect, and just for our purposes, so you can see exactly how that worked out, I'm going to add a new fill layer of white and put that right below that. With my tolerance level changed, I've got a little bit more aggressive feeling here, but this is actually totally transparent now. So if I unclick that, so you don't have to see that layer, and then I unclick this, you can see 100% transparent. So now I can produce this as a single color image. And obviously the way I did it, this has to be done as either a black ink or a dark ink on top of a more lighter shirt. But if I wanted to do this as a white ink or a light ink on top of a darker shirt, what I probably would have done differently is outlined all my type and then made a fill layer inside the hand for a white hand, because otherwise what's going to happen if I do it this way, if I leave it like this, if I do it like that, that looks like that, and it's not quite right. So let's bring this up again, but I'm going to change my fill layer to black. It could work, but it really kind of loses its touch. You almost, you can't really tell what the hell these white blobs are. Now sure, you can't really tell what they are when they're black. They definitely look still like black blobs as opposed to white blobs, but you know, I didn't want to add red. I could if I want to, but I don't want to add red. I just want it to be what it is, and people get the idea. And I think that creates more of an idea than the white ones. There we go. That is pretty much the final design. By the time you see this, I will have put this up into Printify, had it pushed up onto my shop, and it will be available for sale for anybody who might be even reasonably interested. I know this one is actually hyper specific to my personal situation. But, you know, if you dig the shirt, I'm not going to stop you from paying for it. I will keep it at a very low price compared to some of my other designs because, like I said, we're going to keep this as punk rock as possible. Now, if you have any questions about that or have any thoughts about the design, do me a favor, go down to the comments and let's start a conversation. While you head down there, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't done that. There's a bell button there that'll make sure that you never miss a thing. And then this is the big one, folks. Share this with all of your appropriate homies. Share this with anybody that you feel might appreciate this video. I mean, hell, share it with the people that even might not appreciate it. I still want it to be shared everywhere. On that note, I'm going to get out of here. Hey, do you like posters? Do you think that poster design is rad? Well, I started my own daily poster design challenge for myself. And if you want to see the details about that on my other channel, that video's right there. Or if you just want to roll the dice, YouTube thinks you'll dig that one. Be good today, be even better tomorrow. See ya.